Hello and welcome everyone. It's Rebecca Davison here, intuitive coach and mentor and founder of the Intuitive Life Academy. I'm here with the fabulous Susan Harrington-Baker, who is a hypnotherapist and also a qualified NLP practitioner, being neuro-linguistic programming. Susan also helps people with soul readings, and she also helps them to connect to their spirit guides by helping them to learn how to channel. So we're having a conversation today in regards to what does it take to understand and know yourself as love and self-love. So just to get the ball rolling, which is such a huge and interesting topic, but we wanted to bring Susan in to have a conversation about that and to pick her brain and her mind and her spirit and offer us some information and insights. So Susan, just as a really general question, what does it mean to you to know yourself as self-love?
Well, self-love is such a cover-all topic, isn't it? We always hear about, you've got to love yourself, and self-love is the most important thing that you can do, and you can't love yourself until, you can't love somebody else until you love yourself and all that stuff. But I've just found that when I talk to people about self-love, I sometimes see that the eyes glazing over, and because some people don't really know how to place that in their mind, and what is that? What does that mean for me? What would that mean in my life if I was loving myself more? What does that practically mean for me? And what I think it means is it's more than saying self-love. A better way of describing it would be self-understanding. So it would be getting to know yourself, listening to yourself, and understanding why you have these parts of you that want this and other parts of you that want that, and why you have this part of you that's upset, and why you have a part of you that's, whatever. And because once we understand why we do things, why we are trapped in that behaviour or whatever, then we can have compassion for ourselves. And it's almost like we're reaching out a hand on the inside and holding our own hand and calling ourselves back into wholeness. And that's what I think self-love is. I think it's when you're bringing those parts of you back into wholeness and just nurturing yourself and looking after yourself and making sure that your whole being, your community that is you, is cared for and looked after, and that you are watching and observing and listening, taking time to listen to yourself. So I guess that's my quick version of what self-love is to me. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
No, that's brilliant, because it there's so much to take from that. The first thing that comes to mind for me is that self-acceptance. That's one thing that I have seen with a huge number of clients, is that they'll have a negative emotion and then they'll judge themselves for having that emotion. So if we can bring in,
stay stuck in that because they can't. It's like a spiral.
And personally, I've been there myself as well, when I've been in that circumstance where, I've wanted something maybe that hasn't been in my highest and best interest, perhaps in regards to a romantic relationship. And then it's like, oh, how do I get myself to that energy where I've expanded it so I value myself more to be able to receive more? So lots of really interesting aspects, and that self-acceptance too in the first instance is all encompassing. It's not just about accepting the good things about ourselves. It's also accepting the weaknesses or the challenges or the things that we're struggling with as well.
Absolutely, but getting to that place is often where people struggle with, don't they? They say, I know logically that I've got to accept myself. Yeah, I get it, but how do I do that? How do I accept myself? And for me, that's all about the understanding part. That's all about the listening. Because if you were to meet somebody, say you were to meet somebody who maybe committed murder or did some kind of disgusting crime, and you think you're judging them and thinking, oh God, they must be horrible, they must be a horrible person. But if you get to know that person and you get to understand, what they were going through at the time when they did that, and maybe their childhood and everything that happened to them, you would understand and you would have compassion, and you would open your heart to that person. And even though they've done that thing, you would still love them. And it's the same, with these parts of ourselves. It's understanding why they've done that and having compassion, because it's just a little, usually in a child part of you that's just got some program running that is not, they're just stuck in, and we just need to give them a little hand. And then we're really accepting that, I was like that, and I've moved through that. I understand why I was like that, and I'm more whole now because I love it.
And a huge practice there of being present and aware of your feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is really challenging for a lot of people, right?
It is. Yeah, there's a cool thing I read recently in a Buddhist book, and it was saying how, if we were the keepers of some kind of land and we had some territory that we were looking after, that we would be watching that territory and making sure, everything was okay and making sure it was all safe and all that kind of thing. And it's like we need to adopt that inner kind of process with ourselves, where our inner world, our emotions and our feelings and our mind and things, that's like our territory. So we need to keep an eye on that, and we need to be present in that and listen to that and spend time in that to understand ourselves. And often what we can do is when a feeling kind of pops up that's uncomfortable, we just want to take off out of our territory and just avoid and just eat a bar of chocolate or watch TV or whatever, but it's important. It's so important and so empowering to come back and listen. It doesn't have to be about getting into any big heavy thing, but just listening to yourself and finding it fascinating, that you've got this feeling or this emotion or whatever, and looking at it from an open-minded, childlike point of view of adventure. Where's this going to take me, even if it is anger or grief or whatever, being really open, just allowing those feelings to be there and to listen and let them flow, and then you inevitably have some kind of transformation that takes you to the next level on your purpose with where you're meant to go. And if you had been avoiding it, then you just kind of stay stuck. You don't really move forward. Yeah, definitely the path of power and purpose is really listening to yourself and taking that space,
and being totally present to yourself, which is the same gift that you would give to anyone else. That when somebody's really listening to you, or really being present, or really being completely there, how wonderful that feels. And if we can offer ourselves the same as well.
Absolutely. That's my definition of true love, is when you're really there, present with someone. And children, that's all they want from us. They don't want the money, they don't want the gifts, they don't want the whatever. Yeah, they do want that stuff, but really, if they had all of that, they just want our time. They want us to see them. That's why they're all such flippin' attention seekers. They just want our attention. They want our presence, and that's the best gift we can give to somebody else as well. And I think what kind of messes up in relationships, when in the beginning, when you're so in love with each other, and whenever you're together, you're just the absolute object of each other's attention, and that feels so amazing. But over time, you kind of, you get up in the morning and your partner's reading the paper, he doesn't even look at you in the morning, you know what I mean? And you lose that real giving each other that presence, and that's all we really want, is to be seen by each other, isn't it? Yeah.
So how, what ways would you recommend that we, what can we do to really get into that state where we're being present with ourselves? Because I would imagine that that's quite different for different people.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts in regards to, is there something that you do for yourself in particular? Do you have a ritual or a practice? Or
Yeah, I do. So if I've got something going on in my life, or an emotion, or something that's been brought up for me that's difficult, and I know I need to work through it, then I will just sit with the feeling of it. So I'll sit with, what is the feeling of this thing that's going on for me? What is it bringing up for me? And I'll listen to that in my body. So that might be located in my heart, maybe. And so I'll imagine that I'm a little tiny version of me, and I'll go into my heart and I'll have a look around in there. So what's the, is it big, is it small, is it light, is it dark, is it hot or cold, inside, outside, all those kinds of things. And I'll give it the ability to speak as well. So I'll listen to it. What does it want to tell me without censoring it at all? If it wants to scream or shout or yell or anything, just really, really listen to what that area wants to say. And then I'll find out what it needs. So I'll just find out lots of information about, what's going on in there, and then I'll work to give it what it needs creatively, however I can. In my imagination, you're limitless, right? So I can, if it needs safety, then I can create some kind of safe space. I can bring my guides in, I can work with my angels and just give that part of me whatever it needs in order to kind of bring it back to wholeness. And so that might take, I might be able to do that in one kind of sitting, or it might be a process of kind of keeping on coming back to that over, a few days or weeks or whatever, because there's always layers, isn't there? But depending on what I'm going through. And there's so many different tools and many different ways. When you start working with yourself on the inner levels, you're really unlimited as what you can do. You can build your relationships with other people. You can release people from your life. You can talk to other people's souls if you want to understand somebody better. There's just so many things that you can do. So that's what I do if I'm wanting to go through something, and that's what I would encourage other people to do too. Sometimes in one-on-one sessions, that's what I'll do with people if I feel that's a relevant process.
Awesome.
At that point. Yeah.
And this has just come to me, which is interesting because I know that you'll have some information that's completely relevant and pertinent. What would you say to somebody who's feeling really stuck or really in that contracted energy, that they can't move, that, that the first thing they would say to you is I don't know how to connect or to even be quiet or to be still? What would be your recommendation in that circumstance?
Well, there would always be a feeling associated with that. So there'd be a feeling of, I'm frustrated, I can't, whatever. So start with that feeling.
Right.
Move to that feeling and first of all unravel that. That would be there's always an entry in. There's never anyone who's not workable with, no matter what they think about themselves. That's just another layer to kind of uncover and so everyone can do it.
Yeah. And that's really important information too, right? Because if somebody is watching this and going, oh, I can't do it, or it's for everybody else, it's not for me, it's important for them to realise that, nobody is exempt. Nobody's on the outside. So it's available to everybody. There's always choice in regards to moving towards self-love.
Yeah.
So
and some of us, we're so caught up on trying to please other people, and we've some of us have made our whole lives all around being accepted. Doing the job that we think's going to make us accepted, and the behaviour and the clothes and everything that we think will get us attention or make us feel like we're part of something, and we've kind of sold out and are out of touch with how we really authentically feel and what we really authentically want. And that's a big part of what I feel I'm here to do on this planet, is to help people really reconnect with what do I really want, not what somebody's told me I want or what's going to make them happy for me to want. What do I truly, truly want? And this is really important to do with your feelings, because often we don't want to, we don't feel that we're justified in feeling jealous maybe or hurt or angry or whatever it is. So we won't let ourselves acknowledge that we're feeling that, but then that just keeps us stuck. So whenever we want to start any kind of personal transformation, you have to always start with authentically, what am I feeling? Truly, what am I feeling? Not what I should be feeling, but what am I really feeling? And then start from there.
Yeah, and even that's perfect, because even if the feeling is I don't know what I'm truly feeling, like that confusion maybe, or that sense of I'm feeling out of touch, even starting there is is taking the step towards it. And can you maybe share some experiences that you may have had from maybe some of your clients or even yourself in circumstances where, when you have done that, what kind of transitions or transformations that you may have seen or other people may have experienced when they really take the time to just sit down and listen and to be present?
Well, the one that's just coming to mind is when I separated from my husband, or when I realised I needed to, and that was because I'd been cycling through these feelings, kept coming up for me again and again over a period of years of just really saying, I just can't do this anymore. I can't be in this situation anymore. I have to get out of this. I can't do it. It was really coming against my, I don't know, I was bringing up these feelings of, I got to get out of here, but not in I want to run away from it, but this isn't right for me. This is against my truth. This is not who I am. This isn't okay with me anymore, kind of thing. But I would have those feelings come up, and then I'd maybe tell him, I can't do this anymore, and we would have some kind of, debate, and maybe kind of break up nearly or whatever. And this happened, kept reoccurring. So it would come up, and I would kind of get over it and push it down and go, no, it's all right. I'll just pack that away, and I'll just adapt to what he's doing, and because that's the spiritual way, I think, that what he's doing, I should be able to kind of live that way. So I'll just put that aside and go over here, and that would go along fine for a while, but then the feelings would come up again, no, this isn't right, this really isn't right, and then I'd be like, and I'd have to reassess it all again. And the process of doing this was kind of weakening our relationship, because he was getting a bit annoyed with me, every few months, going, I don't think I can do this anymore, kind of thing. And it was making him think, well, God, if she's coming to this point, all the time, then this can't be right. So, it kept coming quicker and quicker as well. And so the last time it came, I just thought, my God, this is it again, exactly again. I've cycled around to this exact same feeling. I'm going to listen to it this time. I can't keep ignoring it, and I can't keep saying this to my husband. I can't keep doing this. So I really got real with myself at that point. And because what I'd been doing was, I hadn't really been acknowledging my true feelings, because it would have meant we needed to separate for sure. So I had been kind of denying parts of myself, but I just thought, I've got to just listen. So I did. I listened to my authentic truth and what it was saying, not what I thought it should have said or whatever. What it really, really said, and then I explained to him what I discovered. And when I told him that, it was like kind of cutting the cords between us, because there was no way that we could really be in a relationship with our totally different value systems. And and now I'm living on my own, and I've got so much more freedom. And I was just reflecting this morning, actually, on just the amazing difference that I feel within myself. I'm so free now, and I'm just free to just be myself. Oh my God, it's so liberating. So, and I've just got the most amazing, beautiful future ahead of me, and I'm just so happy. So yeah, you just got to listen to yourself, and everything, it's all there. It's always been communicated to us, and that's the thing. We don't need to go looking, and books and things, all that, and all that stuff can really help, because it can trigger in you what you already know. That can come up, but essentially it's all there. It's all within us, and we just got to listen to it.
And that's incredibly, that's just so spot on. I've had that experience myself, where when you choose yourself, when you choose to back yourself, or to stop and to listen and to be present and to go, yes, this is true for me, and I'm going to take action on it. It's just amazing, that feeling of expansion and lightness, and being in flow and synchronicity, and the world makes so much more sense, and things kind of magically turn into your favor. So yeah, great of you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that's so important for people who may be feeling maybe stuck or contracted in their energy, for them to realize that because sometimes it can feel scary, right, to be in that situation where we go, okay, I have to have the courage to sit down with these feelings when maybe I've ignored my feelings for a very long period of time, and not feel that you're going to be overwhelmed by your feelings because you've been pushing them back, pushing them back, pushing them back. So just realizing and helping people to connect to that energy, that once you do, you know, the rewards are great in regards to your own sense of expansion and freedom.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I always say to people is, you know, we're here. We've all got such amazing potential, and I just want to unlock it all within everybody, and it all starts with getting in touch with what you really feel and allowing your authenticity to come out, your uniqueness. You know, we don't want to have a planet full of drones. You know, we want all the juicy, unique people and all their quirky craziness to light up this place, you know. Let's just be ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay with that.
And recognizing that this whole process, this self-love process as well, is often, it doesn't have to be striving or trying. It can be just more of a situation of realizing that you've already arrived, and that's more of a matter of just accepting everything as perfect, just the way it is. Like, you are perfect just the way you are right now. You don't have to do anything or change anything, but if you just shift the little few bits and pieces around on the inside, like open up that self-acceptance, then everything can just assimilate into a beautiful position, which, you know, makes you feel really good. So yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that information. It's so important, I think, for people to recognize that, you know, if you sit with your feelings, that they're, you know, it's going to create a really powerful shift. That, you know, by having these feelings in the first instance, they're actually bringing us information that we need to know, and what can happen on the other side of that, and the expansion and the freedom that comes from that, which essentially is us falling deeper and deeper in love with ourselves.
Yeah. Totally. And all those feelings are like our GPS, you know, saying, hey, come over here, this is the way, even if it's a negative feeling, that negative feeling wants to guide you. It's saying, hey, you know, look, listen to me, because I'm going to show you the next step. And so when we listen to our feelings, we're really walking on our path of purpose. And when we're blocking them, that's when we can get disillusioned and confused with our own lives.
And so, just quickly, as just a wee last question, what do you think? You know, because, you know, this, we're talking about an intuitive process, really, or an inner guidance connection. If somebody's never come across that before, or they're unfamiliar with it, what would you say to them in regards to knowing this part of themselves? Like, even having the ability to sit down and be with your feelings. Like, how is that maybe the same or different from getting intuitive or angelic guidance as such?
Well, first of all, I'd say if you feel out of your depth, then I'd definitely go and see someone like you or I to just help kind of guide into the process. How is it the same as connecting with angelic guidance? Well, it's a pretty similar process. I mean, when you start unraveling the knots within yourself, then you become more open and more aligned with the higher dimensions. So you're more easily able to connect with them, and also, you know, connecting with your guides and angels and things is an inner process as well. Yeah. So when you start to learn to navigate your inner worlds, then you become very good at tuning your little conductor, radio frequency thingy into the different levels, and that's how you start to connect in with guides. So, and the more you work on your own personal development, the better you are at connecting with them, because you're more of a clear channel for them. So it all works in together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that and clarifying that. I just think it's important for people who may have never, you know, be known to this kind of work or world, understand, but absolutely, it's an inner process. They call it intuition for a purpose. Wonderful. So, Susan, how can people get hold of you? Your website is Love Being You. Yeah. So yeah, okay, cool. And just to go to your website, do you have an email address that people can contact you on to ask you questions, etc.?
Go to my website.
Okay,
and
there's a contact form through there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been an honour and a joy to connect with you and have this conversation. And thanks to everybody who's watching. For myself in particular, I'm just sending lots of love out to you all this very moment. I know it's coming from both Susan and I, the fact that we're just even having this conversation and sharing it with you in regards to helping you along your own path towards self-discovery and self-love. So bye for now. Many blessings, everybody.